There have been a lot of videos the past couple of days, and a lot of people have been forwarding me these videos from other dentists talking about GST and whether you need to register for GST as a dental practitioner in India, or are you exempt, and what's the story behind it. Let's break it down. Let's go into a little bit of detail so that I can clear out all of your confusion based on this. Now, firstly, in India, healthcare services are exempt. That means our patients who are availing services from us, maybe it's an extraction, maybe it's a dental implant, maybe it's, 2 or 3 crowns, maybe it's filling, all of this is considered as a healthcare service and therefore they are GST exempt, which means if let's say you are charging rupees 2000 for a filling, then you are not going to tack on an additional 12% or 18% or whatever it is for that service. They're just going to pay the fee which you are going to charge them. Now, you become the end user in the GST net. What does that mean? You're purchasing equipment, you're buying impression materials, you're buying filling materials. Your supplier is levying a 12 or an 18% GST on you, and you need to pay that GST. This does not mean you need to be GST registered. You need to be GST registered only if you're collecting from your patients any kind of amount that requires GST to be applied to it. Now remember what I first said, healthcare services, which means including dental services, are GST exempt. So technically you don't need to register for GST. However, there is something that changed in about 2022 with some court rulings which said that certain procedures of a cosmetic nature, for example, whitening or veneers, were considered to be out of sort of the scope of healthcare and more tending towards your cosmetic type of procedures, and therefore they should attract a GST. In terms of something like whitening, of course, I don't think it can be argued that this is not a cosmetic procedure. A tooth whitening is a cosmetic procedure. It really doesn't improve functionality at all. So if you are doing teeth whitenings in your practice, you actually should be GST registered. Now, what about veneers? Veneers is a little different thing, and I think this is open to interpretation because most veneers are not purely cosmetic in nature. Patients come in with a lot of caries on their anterior teeth. That requires veneers. Patients come in with a lot of attrition on their anterior teeth with no incisal guidance, and that requires veneers as well. So it's not purely an aesthetic correction. It is also a functional correction, and this nuance is something that the department really needs to be informed by the governing bodies of our field, that veneers are not really cosmetic in nature only, they are also functional in nature. Because crowns and bridges are not being looked at by the GST department as something which is taxable. But if you look at crowns and bridges, they do provide cosmetic value, but they are also functional. And it's very similar with veneers, it's just a different shape of the restoration. Now, when does one need to register for GST? So you need to be registered with the department if your annual collection is above 20 lakhs. And now this is where a big confusion happens. So if you are, let's say, collecting 25 lakhs per year and all of it is GST exempt, which means no veneers, no whitening, and you only do extractions and crowns and bridges and implants and all of that stuff, all GST exempt, then in that case you do not need to register to the GST department. But now, let's say even 1 rupee or 100 rupees or 1000 rupees of your collection is GST liable. So that means you need to be collecting for that. So for example, it could be veneers, it could be whitening, it could be the sale of products. The sale of products, for example, a toothpaste, if you're selling that in your clinic, is not something which is considered a healthcare service. It's just a sale of a product that needs to have GST applied on it. So even if it's just 0.01% of your annual turnover beyond 20 lakhs, which requires GST collection, then you need to be GST registered or you are in violation. I hope that clears it up. I hope there's no more confusion on this topic. I really think, I'm not sure who to talk to about this, probably the Dental Council India, maybe the IDA can represent us. I'm not sure really who is the right person to inform the authorities that something like veneers is just a more minimally invasive crown and they're not just purely cosmetic. This is what happens when, the cosmetic dentists of the world just make it look like it's a whole smile design, brighter smile, enhance your life, enhance your smile, look good, and they don't talk about the functional benefit of these types of restorations. So I hope that clears the confusion, and actually this time I think I really hope I didn't confuse you enough. I hope that solves it, all right? So till the next time we meet, this is the Dental Review Guy signing off with a smile.